Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tommy with Fanvil North America. Welcome and thank you for your time in coming to Fanvil's Device Management Cloud System, doing the How To Series 2. Along with me today is a colleague of mine, Hector Zarita, who also is our SE, and he's going to be doing the demonstration portion today of the How To series of FDMCS. 2 weeks ago, what we've done is we've actually went over this is the second of 4 series of instruction on how to really walk you through our new cloud-based management system. So what we decided to do 2 weeks ago is to really introduce you on how to outline the organization, setting up sites. The next stage that we're going to do today is to actually outline how do you actually work with these devices? How do you configure the management files, and what kind of resources do you need to allocate that? And what myself and Hector are going to do is really demonstrate to you in the back and give you an actual walkthrough of this actual device to kind of give you a hands-on recipe. But before I get started, what I want to do is just get some house cleaning taken care of. If you have any questions at the end of this webinar, please, by all means, go to your questions client and be able to put in any questions that you want to. Both Hector and I will stay on after this webinar so that we can address those questions. In addition, we also have handouts. We have a PDF version that you can download from the handout section of this client as well. So if you do there, you'll also get a soft copy of this presentation. Let me go ahead and just talk about some of the items we're going to talk about today. Obviously, for the initial, we're going to talk about some items, just giving you a general system overview. Then we're going to dive right into really getting into the device management system, how to set up configuration management files. People may ask, what are configuration management files? These are items that you have to go ahead and actually set up templates that actually outline all the different configurations that you could set up, one or many. Now, this whole presentation is going to probably take somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes, following on with questions. So pretty much half of it's going to be, in essence, giving you a brief overview of a walkthrough, followed by another 20 minutes or so given by Hector. So following all that, then we're going to talk about questions and answers at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with Fanvil, I just like to reserve one slide just to kind of go over what we do, because not everybody on the line may be familiar. And what Fanvil does is actually, we're one of the leading SIP endpoint providers, and we provide a whole bunch of endpoint devices that actually allow human beings to actually communicate with the actual SIP and communications devices, communicating both audio and video solutions throughout your business or throughout your campus. And coupling with all of these businesses, what we're going to focus on today is really the management system as well, which is what we put together here that introduces the new cloud management system. And coupled with that, I'm just going to go over real briefly on just a quick overview on some of the hardware solutions that we provide to date to give you an idea on the type of devices that you can go ahead and do. One of the leading products that Fanvil produces is the SIP desk phone. And the SIP desk phone can really be divided into 2 categories, both business as well as hospitality as well. And you may have noticed that in recent social media releases, Fanvil also released a brand new value series of X Pro and Lite versions. And those, what we've really done is taking what we took our value line of phones and be able to make really a Pro color screen as well as a light-based black and white screen. And given the variances, we've also made some great enhancements to those particular lines, basically throughout our value line, because what we've done is really taking the conferencing unit and being able to go from 2 or 3 conferencing calls up to 5 with these nice things. So it's not just an expansion of that, but we also added some great capabilities of that. Coupling the desk phones, we also have our I-Series phones, our I-Series peripherals, which stands for door access units. And in the door access units, these are all SIP-based devices as well, which enables employees, clients, or even residences at home to be able to swap an RFID key fob, to be able to go ahead, wipe it through so that you can go ahead and enter in, not only for outdoor units, but we also have indoor units as well that we show here that you could paste against the wall. Now, this is just a small snapshot of some of the things that we have, but we could also expand and get little different models of it, and I encourage you to go to our website and check out our brochure. We also have simplified versions of the SIP intercoms, which actually go from very simple indoor devices to actual outdoor devices, which have video and don't have video, to the very basic devices, all the way through to hard ruggedized devices that can handle high humidity as well as rainfall. And coupling, but not last but not least, is our SIP public address devices. This is made famous for our PA2 and PA3 devices, which enable you, the provider or the integrator, to be able to really convert every analog endpoint, such as PA units or things like elevators, to be able to convert all of those analog interfaces into SIP. And that these gateways, as well as these monitoring devices, allow you to go ahead and manage those devices. So let's go ahead and say, why do we want to use FDMCS? Well, when you want to do that, you want to go ahead and really automate it, because Fanvil realizes that when you're out in the field, time is money. So when you're out there, what you want to do is to be able to pre-configure not only one phone, but a whole batch of phones. And this is the second of a series of 4 that gives you an idea of how to manage your devices with easier configuration, bulk configuration of multiple devices, as well as being able to set up frequent setups moving forward. And this allows you to be far more productive out in the field. In addition to that, it also gives you the capability to monitor these devices from a remote location, which means that you can find out about these problems about devices before it actually happens. Now, this new FDMCS is a cloud-based version which complements our FDMS version, which is a sort of a download version. And there are minor differences between the two, because FDMCS is really based in a really high reliable cloud system, whereas it doesn't require our providers and integrators to integrate this device. They could just log onto the cloud and be able to use it, versus this system here, which provides access to a download system. Now, given this, many of the enhancements as well as improvements at API are all going to be implemented on the FDMCS system, and we encourage you to probably give it a try and welcome any feedback that you might have in terms of providing this system to your to manage your system accordingly. Of course, this is just a little playlist of the devices that we support, everything from our entry-level phones, hotel phones, including industry equipment. This is just a quick snapshot for today, but as of tomorrow, you'll actually see that it actually supports a lot further devices that we're going to do. So effective today, number 2, we've already done in July, from July 1st to June 30th, is our channel 1, which gives you an idea of the channel management, as well as how to organize your organization on the system. What we're going to do today is really focus on number 2, which gives you an overview of device configuration and resource management. If you want to look back at this, we're going to have a library of these movies in the Fanvil YouTube videos to give you a library of the different things that you can go ahead and look up. And these are future courses that we're going to have rolling out to you as well. So how do you go about getting access to this thing? Well, what you can do is really contact your local Fanvil sales manager. You can send it to sales@fanvil.com. But one difference that we've also done, because we're a global organization, we've also enabled a lot of your local distributors to be able to access links to you as well. So when you request it, you may not have to wait 24 hours. You can get it in 5 minutes by really requesting this and having your local distributor provide this link to you as well. And all you need to do is, once you contact them, just provide them with your support and indicate your preferred email that you want to, and we'll go ahead and send you a link. What do you expect when you get a link? You'll get a link that looks like this in your email. And the good news about this link, that it's valid for 3 days. So once you get it, I advise you not to go ahead and defer this to wait for later on when you have time. Just go ahead and log in and define your username and password, and make sure you don't forget it. But that's something that you can use to log on to our cloud-based system, and then you can use this system to test it and to see whether or not it makes you a more productive person out in the field. Now let's dive into the device management. So in device management is really can be outlined through this high-level hub. Now I'm not going to go over this in a lot of detail because Hector is going to go ahead and do this live with you, but this gives you a little bit of an overview so that everything that Hector presents to you is going to be a review of many of the things. You can go ahead and do single device addition, or you could input a batch of devices. You can input one phone that has a specific configuration, or you could set up a specific template that allows you to put a whole matrix, perhaps up to 10,000 phones at a time, to be able to allow you to import all of these devices into what we call as the central hub, so that you can go ahead and configure and select these devices and deploy them to either your site management or any other type of system that you want to do, either through MAC address or site management. So in the operation on the left-hand side, you notice here that here on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to notice a lot of different computations here. Again, Hector's going to go through this in a lot of detail, but here in the setup screen, this allows you to kind of bind different SIP accounts and allows you to go ahead and configure whether or not you want this phone to automatically bind to our redirection server as well. Once you put in these phones, this will automatically bind to our redirection, but you can give a choice on whether or not you do that. And as well, you could also do a setup here, which also allows you, in this case, for function keys, it gives you a real graphical ability here to be able to program a lot of these phone books, these function keys, and a lot of these different phone settings in a graphical user interface. We also have an upper right-hand corner here, which allows you to do the old classic text style programming if that's what you prefer as well. So there's really two interfaces to kind of do that. So how do you program these function keys? If you select this key here, you can go ahead and click the type, and this gives you a quick flash as to tell you what the type of keys that you have moving forward and all these type of things. And what you can do is you can really, select one page or all these different pages that you could select and put into your function keys on your configuration files. Now let's go into configuration management. What is configuration management? Well, this is the actual text device or the text template that allows people to upload the different settings of all the different phones into it. A lot of PBX providers call this as their actual template, and you can actually call this a common configuration template or a MAC configuration template. The difference between the two is that common could be common amongst all the different specific phones of particular series. Say you wanted to upgrade all the X4Us, you could develop a common configuration that you could deploy, and you will actually deploy to all the X4Us on a specific site if you wanted to. But a MAC configuration is a file that you have to name, and the thing you have to be careful with is with the MAC configuration, you have to use the MAC address.txt, and that will identify that config file for that specific phone, for that MAC address. So it gives you that level of flexibility between the two. So this gives you a quick illustration. I'm not going to go through this because our walkthrough demonstrations are going to give you a lot more detail, but when you want to add a single file, this is what you'll get done. You could configure a name for that specific config file. You could call it a marketing config file, etc. moving forward, or you can have something like this that provides you with a lot more detail of what phones you want to select. Then you could get options to how to distribute. So you could select this, and using this device, you can actually push that config file based on the MAC address or select devices, or you can go ahead and schedule an outgoing device here, or you could send it out immediately. All that control is really up to you through the push file of the config files that you want to do. I mentioned earlier about the MAC configuration files, and this here, when you click this template, you'll actually see that Excel template that I showed earlier, and that gives you the idea of putting together specific MAC files that allow you to just do it. Now, to actually develop a MAC file, you have to have the MAC address existing in your device portfolio or the device hub as well. That's just one of those things. Now let's look at resource management. Resource management is really a hub that allows you to store all of your specific firmware. Say you have an OEM firmware that you use specifically for yourself, or it could be that golden firmware that you have that want to run that specific, system on that particular file. This is outside of what we call the official firmware, which is something that Fanvil manages, and we can go ahead and show you where the latest config is, so that you can keep track of when new versions come out, and you'll be automatically notified between one or the other. And this allows you to sort of allocate resources to do that. So to allocate my firmware, you could just go through this thing, but Hector's going to kind of go through this a lot further, and you can actually notify the type of settings that you have. You could do it by email notification, or you could have an on-site notification as well, allowing you to kind of go through, picking the official firmware that you want to go ahead and your particular phones or a group set of phones. Now, when you talk about resource management, you could allow other things like background images. A great deal about it is that some people like to put in their company logo as a background image. This is a location where you can actually upload onto the resource files, having phone books and certificates, all done right there on resource management. In contacts and tools, these are just the reference that you can have when you download this file on all the different, what we call the toolbox, that allows you to access our global sales, our global support. Then, of course, we have our documentation and firmware that you can download, as well as our social media site here. And this is a great reference if you want to go ahead and keep track of the progress that Fanvil does when it brings out new news or new releases out into the marketplace. Now, with that said, I'm going to go and hand the presentation over to Hector, which he's going to give you a walkthrough of all of the different configurations that you can do move forward. So I'm going to pass this wand on to Hector.
Thank you, Tommy, for the pass. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your assistance. My name is Hector Zurita. I am a product and solution manager at Fanvil Technologies for the North American and Latin region, as well as I am part of the technical support team for these regions. Next, we will give a live tour to you to show you in the tail edge of the session explaining minutes ago, and that corresponds to the second how to use of the new FDMCS solution. Okay, at this moment, the login screen is shown, so we log in using the user credential defined by the administrator. The system dashboard is immediately shown to use. Okay, here we can see in real time the number of device registered, how many of them are online, okay, offline or not configured. We can also know in real time the statistics, okay, the statistics of the ID accounts, as well as the device assigned by site and organization.
Hi, Hector, are you showing the right screen?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think I'm seeing a different screen on the share screen.
Yeah.
I see your desktop, but I don't see the actual internals. Oh, there we go.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. There we go.
Yeah. Here we can see in real time the number of registered devices. Okay, how many of them are online, offline, or not configured. Okay, we can also know in real time the statistics of the IDEC accounts, as well as the device assigned by site and organization. In the first how to use webinar, it was explaining how to configure these settings to management an account, an organization, and a site. Okay, if you could not be present in that first webinar, we invite you to verify the recording of this webinar to know all the details. So let's go now to the device management session. Okay, the main functions of the device management module are display device list information, add, delete, modify, search for device, restore device, upgrade firmware, restore factory settings, transfer device to different organizations, and replace their on-site. Here is an overview of the device management sessions. Okay, device only status, dots green online, gray unconfigured, and yellow offline. Okay, device name, device model, secret status. Okay, display the registration status of the field register line, can be registered, filed, not registered, on now. Click the drop down arrow to view the registration status of all lines. Okay, as shown in the screen right now. Public IP address. Okay, and site information. Click on the settings icon. You can select which file to display in the device list shown in the screen, software version. Okay. Software version, hiding by default. Okay, serial number, also hiding by default. Last configuration time. The system records the last configuration time to the device, also is hiding by default. And last active time, okay, the system record the last active time of the device, and also is hiding by default. There is the search device section. Okay, select the model you want to search, enter the device name, device MAC containing numbers or letters, press enter to view the eligible device, and advanced search. Okay, click advanced search. You can select site, for example, account status, device status, firmware version number. Let's go now to the A device. Okay, in this session, it is important to know that the user can configure the relic information of the device by adding the device as shown in the screen. So after successful addition, the device will be now configured by default. Okay, and the device can be connected to the management platform only after connect FDMCS and the device has rebooted. So here we can each of the file that must be configured to add a device. Okay, MAC address, for example, recovery file, configure the MAC address of the device. Device name, set the device name. Model, select the device model. Site, you can select the site set in site management. Okay, and select the site to which the device belongs. Bind account. Okay, bind account. Select the sign line, SIG server, SIG account. After configuring the SIG server and SIG account in the account management session, you can configure here the number of SIG lines that can be bound is different for different models. Synchronous to FDP is very important. Check by default. Okay, check it by default. Select this option, and the Mac will automatically synchronize to FDPs after submission. Through FDPs redirection, the user can automatically deploy zero configuration easily. Okay. Right now, let me see. Import device. This function can import device. Okay, into device management in Bash. Click the import button. Download the template. Okay, at the import prompt. And prepare to import data according to the template. After saving, upload the format files according to the prompts. Note that up to 10,000 devices can be important. Okay. Also, export session, export device. Export device is device list in batches. If you don't select a device and click export directly, all devices will be exported. Okay. Click the box on the left of the device to select the device. Multiple selection is possible. Click the box above to select all device or current page. After selecting, click the export button to export the select device list information to an Excel table. Okay. There is is also the operation device session. You can edit the device, set the account, set the parameters, and view the details and other operations. For example, click edit icon. Device information can be changed as shown in the screen. The information for the change is device name, okay, type, buying account, and synchronized FDMCS. So in the set account session, you can quickly change 6 servers, for example, 6 account and 6 line as shown in the screen. And the parameter settings, very important section. You can choose graphical interface editing or switch to text editing. Text editing uses the format of the NC configuration file. Okay. As you can see in this section, we can define any configuration of the device directly from the FDMCS, basic and advanced configurations. This gives the administrator a complete and centralized management of the device that he has added. Okay. In fact, it is the main intention of the FDMCS, provide the administrator with centralized management of the device through an intuitive platform. So it's a very important option. Okay. The device details. Now we return to the device session and click or view device details. You can choose to view details operation log, for example, test log, okay, device diagnosis and transfer device or move the device. For example, select details. You can view the format address, model, last one line time, software version, and serial number, as well as the registration status of each SIG line. Operation log. Click the operation log, jump to the operation log interface of the device. You can view all the operation log within 90 days of the device. For example, for this phone, okay. Click the task record, jump to the task management interface, okay, and click diagnosis to jump to the device diagnosis interface, okay. Click transfer device or move the device to transfer the device to another organization. Select where to synchronize the corresponding SIG account. If synchronized account is selected, the original SIG account will still be used after transfer. If you do not select a synchronous account, clear the original SIG account after the transfer. Okay. You can delete a single device or multiple device. Select the device to be deleted and click the delete button. The page from config to delete. The page from config to delete the select device, and the device cannot be managed after decision. After clicking OK, the corresponding device will be deleted from the device list shown on the screen. So reboot device, select one or more device, click reboot, and the select device will be rebooted. Please note that it only applies to only online device. Okay. Site assigning, you can move this device to a site by selecting one or more devices and selecting site management to introduce the site. For example, that is shown on screen right now. Update firmware, for example, select one or more device. The device needs to be the same model. Select upgrade firmware and select the firmware to upgrade. Okay. Select the upgrade mode as immediate or scheduled. The device will update the corresponding firmware according to the setup. Immediate, execute tasks immediately, and schedule, specify the time to execute in the end, increase the task to the task management list. Please note that also it only applies to online device, okay? And the session more, if we click on the more button, we will find the following actions. Update the profile, select one or more device. The equipment needs to be same the model, okay? Select the update model as immediate or scheduled. And the platform will update the configuration file for the device set, okay? Update resource file include background image, phone book, certificates, ringtones, and other phone development documents, okay? Move the device, select one or more device, which can be transferred in bulk to other organizations. Select where to synchronize the corresponding SIG account. If synchronized account is select, the original SIG account will still be used after transfer. If you do not select account, clear the original account after the transfer. So as you can see, the device session is very complex and provided administrator with many tools. Now we will go to the next session now as configuration management. Okay, the configuration management module mainly implements the function of batch development of configuration files. Here is a general view of the session. We have common configuration name, general configuration type, which can be by site or by model, size, associate size, and last update time. Operation for set parameters, push configuration update, edit general configuration, and download configuration file. Okay. Setting parameters, click the set parameter icon, the parameter setting interface. In this interface, the user can pick the parameters to be changed in the configuration file, okay, which can be set in two ways, graphical interface or text editing. As shown a few minutes ago in this session, the user can define basic and advanced configuration of the device that has been added to the FDMCS, okay? Push configuration update, very important. Click the post configuration update icon, enter the configuration post update page, select the device to perform post configuration, and select the post mode as immediate or scheduled. The platform will create the corresponding tags and post the configuration file to the corresponding device at the corresponding time. Okay. Edit general configuration. The files that can be edited are general configuration name. Okay. Config type and model cannot be edited and pushed sites. Okay. So download configuration file. Click the download profile icon. You can download the configuration file in TXT format. Delete the option that allows you to easily delete any configuration file is also available. select one or more configuration files and click the delete button to prompt. Common config to add general configuration template. Visit the general configuration page and click Add General Configuration to enter the general configuration. And the following window will be displayed. So configuration name, user defining, configuration type, select by model or by site, by model. When select by model, model type should be select, and by site, select a site corresponding. Choose a push type, okay? A push type, and upload configuration file, upload the configuration file to be pushed, TXT configuration file in NC format, okay? And to finish today's demonstration, let's move on the resource management session. Resource management includes firmware management and resource files management, file management. Resource files management include picture, phone book, certificate, ringtone. First, the official firmware session is shown. This page displays the official firmware upload by the Fanvil administrator. The official firmware page shows the following list display file, okay? Firmware name, firmware version, support model, release note, description, update time, and operation. Operation to push, update firmware, and download firmware. Okay, a very interesting option in this session is the new firmware version notification option. Okay, click the new version notification button to enter the new version notification setting page. Set file, notification mode, or notification methods, on-site notification, and email notification. On-site notification: when the firmware version of the select model is updated, the platform notifies the user in the form of on-site message. And email notification: when the firmware version of the select model is updated, the platform notifies the user by sending an email. And notification model: when select the model to be notified. Okay. Another interesting option in this session of the resource is the push update firmware, since allow you to carry out firmware updates in the device in a simple way, okay, with just one click. So, as shown in the figure below, select the device to update the firmware. After selection, select instant push or timing push. The platform establishes the corresponding task and pushes the firmware to the corresponding device at the corresponding time. Okay. On the other hand, the user can also download the firmware of some device from the FDMCS. This can be used in case the user needs to perform the update locally to any device. Okay. In this session, my firmware of resource, we also have the option that allows to load specific firmware in the FDMCS to let it be used in a better way in the device. Click my firmware to enter my firmware page. Page list display, firmware name, firmware version, support model, release note, description, update time, and operation. Push update firmware, okay, download firmware, edit and copy file. At top of this session, we will find the upload option to load the firmware, okay. Click to load firmware button to enter the upload firmware page. Upgrade pack, okay, can be upload file or upload pack. Upload the enter firmware file. Release now firmware version description, only support specific file formats, okay. Firmware name, firmware version, support model, and description. The resource sessions is not only used to manage firmware, then the user can also manage specific files to later associate them with the device configuration. Okay, so resource files management include the management of pictures, phone book, certificate, ringtones, and other files. The files shown in this section are resource name or file name, file type, okay, can be picture, phone book, certificate, ringtone, other types, support model or applicable model, description, and update time. Operation is the download and edit. At the top of this session, we will find the upload option to load the file. Okay, a file is to be set, upgrade pack, upgrade file, upload pack, file name, file type, okay, support model, and description. This session of resource files also allows download files to local operations and edit the files, okay? So with this session of resource, we finish the demo of today's webinar. Now, we will go to the question and answer session. If you have any question about the information shown today, please let us know throughout the chat. My colleague Tommy and I will be answering each of your question. Okay, thanks again for your assistance.
Thank you very much, Hector. I'm going to go over to the question screen and see. We do have some questions here. We can start off. For those who want to stick around, feel free to listen to the questions as I read them off, or if you don't have enough time or interested questions, you can come and go as you wish, and thank you for your time. First question is, can you manage the EGS tables on I-23, I guess? I guess that would be for you, if that's something that you can do.
Yeah, it is possible to do configuration from the FDMCS. To know all the details, you can write to us through the support email or also through a ticket, and we will gladly provide you with the necessary support.
Another question is, can you add or delete, I guess they call it MiFi cards on the I series? So
yeah,
I guess when you,
yes.
you can add and delete from any of the databases, I would assume. You get the those cards and keyboards, and you can add and delete them as you wish on the I series.
Yeah, at the moment this option is not available, but in the next firmware version it will be included.
Okay. As we move forward, the next one, it'll be helpful to show how to get a phone connected to the system before showing us all settings that you can do with the phone. When you say the phone connected to the system, I think what you can do there is there's really two ways that you can get the phone connected. The old-fashioned way is doing it manually, where you really only need 3 sessions that you can do. You can just basically get the PBX registration address, have a username and account, as well as the account password. It's really 4 parameters. That all it takes to register the device. But what you can do is that we can probably go deeper on a one-on-one session if you want to go ahead and know how to register a particular SIP account. But it just requires 4 parameters, and you can do that manually, or you can automate it through it. But what I would suggest is once you understand how to do it manually, then you can work backwards and using a tool like FDMCS to really automate that process for you moving forward. Can we have a text document provided with all the parameters when you switch and text edits? Oh, so like all the different questions. Do we have a document like that, Hector, that shows all the different commands on one document?
Let me see. 1 minute, please.
No problem.
Yeah. The customer can write to can write to us through the support email or my email. Also through Zika and provided you with the necessary support information on the documentation.
Yeah, there's really two ways. I mean, what I think this person is referring to is really the text editing feature, whereas what we showed here is more of the GUI interface where you could go into the function keys and probably put it in manually. But there's another format as well where you can go in text editing and put in, you know, those specific commands. And I know what the document they're referring to. It's a document that kind of shows the different outlines of parameters that you can put in for each of those commands. But send in your request to either, I guess Hector, and we can go ahead and pursue in getting this document to see if it's available. Another one is, will customers' firewall settings block the FDMCS management? I guess in general, you would need to have these ports open, similar to how you would need to have these phones available. There would have to be some sort of port. So take, for example, you have to open up a port. If you have all these phones managed by a cloud-based PBX, you're going to have some level of access. And once you have that access available, you could define what these ports are inside the FDMCS so that you can guide it through the right ports to be able to configure your phones. So yeah, if you have a drum-tight firewall to prevent everything, of course that could be an issue, but every company is different. Some people have it very, very tight, and in that case, you would have to identify some port to be able to gain access, because you will need internet access to have access to these phones, as well as the system to do that. An on-site customer changes the phone configuration, BLF keys. Will the phone push the changes to FDMCS? If they change it to the phone, that won't necessarily change it, because all of the template files that you have on the FDMCS is static. So say if they change the settings and they screw up the phone somehow, you could actually push the quote-unquote master version onto that phone as well, so that you restore it to what the file was originally done, so that changes on the phone side isn't going to necessarily change it. So when they go through a reset, the actual default configuration of the actual of the template that you have in the control system, the cloud system, would be able to be pushed out. If on-site customer changes, oh, I've already done that one. Push by immediate or schedule can push when online, so it provisions when it's first connected. The answer is yes. Actually, you could push it immediately. So take, for example, you could set up a MAC address with a MAC config file, so that if once the config file gets set up, it gets put onto the system on the field, and once that appears and it becomes active, it will then at that point push that file out into the field. So there is that level of dynamic. It doesn't have to be in series that way, but it should be registered in your system so that once it goes active, then all of a sudden it'll say, you could immediately set it and push it out, or you could set it to be scheduled as well. One question is, questions for FDMCS. How is the settings for linking redirection server FDPS? Normal setting is need to set FDMS link and import the last config FDMS group tab. You want to address this one, Hector? I do know that when you set something up with FDMCS, the cloud-based version, you could set it up so that you could automatically link to the redirection server. So that's really up to you, because if you could set it up to automatically link to FDPS, FDPS, where you could have it automatically linked to the two. Also separate them, because what some people do is they would rather have the redirection server pointed somewhere else and perhaps use our cloud-based system to do monitoring and things like that. So it's really configurable in how you want to go ahead and set up those settings moving forward. And I think we have the last one here, which is there a document that goes through the steps to get the phone connected? Well, I guess there's several ways you could do that, depending on what PBX engine you use. Some PBXs ought to have our phones automatically configured or provisioned on their own. So take, for example, you could use PBX-A, which has all these sets of qualified phones. Once these phones are available, you can actually select those phones and have it automatically done, and so that it'll automatically push the defaulted provisioning file from the PBX server onto the actual phone itself. To do it manually, I think I mentioned it earlier, you just really need the PBX server address. You would need the account number. Say if it was like extension 101, you could assign it 101 and give it a username and password. Those are really the 4 basic tools. And with those 4 basic tools, you can go ahead onto the phone and actually manually go ahead and do that and actually register. It's with those 4 parameters. If you set it up on the SIP account, you can actually put in those numbers on a manual basis, and then once you do that, you can reset the account, and then once it registers, then you'll be able to see the account active and begin making calls that way. If you want to have a side session, feel free to send a request over to sales@fanvil.com. I'm sure somebody would be able to provide some guidance in being able to walk through that process with you manually. So that's something that we're able to do. And I think so far that is it from the questions that I have listed. I will stay on for a few more minutes if want. If there's no more questions, feel free to, again, I want to thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Hector, for your time as well. And if there's any questions, I'll be sticking around here for some additional questions. If not, have a great day and stay healthy. Okay. I guess right now there isn't anything more, so I'll give a sort of a final countdown for 10 seconds. If not, I'll close this session and wish everybody well. Okay? So having said that, thank you very much for your time, everybody. And I'll just, we're going to have these sessions on the different regions. If you have any further questions, feel free to send your questions to support@fanvil.com, and we'll be able to address your questions one by one on any particular interest. Okay? Again, take care. Bye-bye.